Hi, so in this video I wanted to show you how to plan a journey with the e-Golf. It's very straightforward. I'm going to show you a simple option and also kind of a more kind of geeky option. We're going to be staying at the at Mollies Motel and Diner in Farringdon. I've seen some pictures of this place and it looks super cool. If you don't know about Mollies Motel and Diner, I mean, I've never stayed there, but it just seems to be like a really cool crossroads. I'm sure I'll have a better idea once I've been. The reason we're going there is just for a bit of a day out really and a night over, but we're going to Fully Charged 2020 and we wanted somewhere to kind of stay on the way back. So we thought this is a little out of the way, but it could be a good option for us. So let's get started, and here's how I plan a journey. When I'm using booking.com, I've mentioned this before, where you filter down, you want a swimming pool or a sauna, etc, etc. You can just put, I want EV charging, and that will give you a list of hotels and places to stay that have EV chargers. So that's quite useful. Now, Mollies doesn't have an EV charger. They've said that they're going to get one in 2020, so this year. Fingers crossed that happens. We're not going to need to charge there. I'm going to plan it so that we don't charge there. But if you do get stuck, another option is an extension lead. I'm going to talk to you about how to do that properly. I know, it seems simple, but it's better to be safe than sorry if you're going to use an extension lead. Anyway, so let's get started. Here's how to plan a journey in the e-Golf. So ZapMap, I think, is probably the simplest way to find chargers at your destination. So we're going to be stopping now. I don't want to go here, but we're stopping at Bicester Village on the way. Yep. So calm down, Steve. So we can see here's Bicester Village. So let's zoom in a bit. There's the village. I've probably gone a bit too far. We'll just isolate the chargers. There we are. So there's lots of chargers nearby. Now I'm using ZapMap on a PC, but it's probably easier if you're out and about to use it on an app. If you click here, you can see there's a legend. So this tells you the type of charger. So slow will be kind of anything from a plug socket up to a 3.5 kilowatt charger, sort of FEV type charging. Fast 7 to 22 and rapid 43 kilowatts plus. There we are. So this is the car park for Bicester Village. So it makes most sense just to park here, just to charge here. You've got a charger nearby at a gardening centre if we need it. Oops, I'll get rid of that. We've got a Tesco's. There's a Kia dealership, that's restricted. So I bet that's just for kind of Kia cars. We've got a slow charger in this car park. So here we are. So in Bicester Village itself, there's a couple of plug sockets and a couple of type 2s. Let's see if we can get some more information. Yeah, so a 3-pin socket and a type 2. I can click on information and find out a bit more about it. It's a polar charger. It's a £1.20 connection fee and then it's free. Seems reasonable. There's 100 comments. They just seem to be saying that it's working. So that's saying it's iced by a leaf. What does it say? Oh, worst type of icing. And then further down, there's some people arguing about whether FEVs should use chargers, which I'm not going to get into. So this one seems to be our best bet. So we'll head to that one, knowing that there's plenty of others in the area. Right, so for the super geeky, a better route planner. So it's abetterrouteplanner.com, or they've also got an app. So let's work out the journey here. Now, you can put a lot more in here. I'm not saying that it gives you any better information, but I mean, if you're a planning geek, and if you're going on a long road trip, we're going to the south of France soon. It's a really good app and site for that. So we live near Peterborough, so I've put my starting destination as Peterborough. We're going to stop at Bicester Village. We're going to go to Mollies Motel and Diner, back to Peterborough. So you can start putting in things like your model, which is fantastic. So we've got a 36 kilowatt hour model. It's suggesting we're going to get 333 watt hours per mile. See, I think we're going to get closer to 300. I'll be a bit more optimistic. You can put in your speed, you can put in your departure charge, the outside temperature if the roads are dry, perhaps more importantly, the types of charge you want to use en route, and it will plan your journey. So lastly, I'd also recommend having an extension lead in the car, just if you need to use someone's 3-pin, if you're staying at friends or family, they might not have a charger, or probably unlikely to have a charger. So if you can charge at their house with a decent extension lead and your charging cable, I mean, that's a nice, easy way to charge. You'll probably get 6 miles an hour sort of charging speeds there. What you should never do is use something like this. This is why it's important to have a charging cable in the car and not having to rely on something you've just found at the back of your shed. The reason being is when we charge here at home with the granny cable, we draw about 2 kilowatts. And what none of us do, none of us read the front of this. So here's what it says on the front. You can barely read it, this is so old. But it says that this will only do 0.7 of a kilowatt if it's wound up. So if you plug something into this and you're putting 2 kilowatts, this is equipped to handle 0.7 of a kilowatt. I talked about this in my charging video, but this will get very hot and melt. If you fully extend it, it will still only do 1.4 kilowatts. So even fully extended, where the cables can stay nice and cool, it's still going to pull more through this than it's capable of taking. Quite often, as non-electricians, we think the fuse will just blow. These will melt before the fuse blows, in most cases, in my experience. So here's what I recommend instead. So when it comes to a charging cable for the car, I mean, there are different places. I recommend Xavier. The guy that owns it's called Xavier, so you can you can work it out. He's a really lovely chap, and he'll talk you through. If you tell him what you're going to need it for, he'll talk you through. So here's a Tesla setup. This person is using a very safe extension lead. This end is interchangeable, so you can perhaps use a 3-pin on it or a Shuko, and then it charges into goes into his UMC. Everything's waterproof. I would recommend his extension leads. So with his extension leads, you've got a choice. It's got several lengths here. Now, these are probably more expensive than you're used to paying, but these are designed and they're very safe to use with electric vehicle charging. He also does some adapters, so if you're going to France, for instance, you might plug into a French socket, this would plug into that, and then your UMC would plug into the car. So yeah, I'll put my code in the description because you'll get 10% off if you use my code. I think I'll get 25% off my next purchase if you use my code. I do really appreciate it. And if you do use that, I recommend this. It's a dry box. So you put one cable in one side, the other cable in the other side. The plug, which isn't waterproof, is in there. Pop the lid on, that's now waterproof. For a bit of extra safety, I normally put it under the car, just for a bit more, you don't have to. Don't mess about with extension leads, just get a decent one. I can't kind of stress that enough. Anyway, let's go on with our journey. So we're off, we've got 71 miles left to go to Vista Village, and we've got 96 miles of range. So if that's correct, which is, the car's proved to be very accurate since we've had it, we'll have 25 miles of range left. Susie's sticking to the speed limits. No, we're not going off. Susie's sticking to the speed limits, so that should mean we get an accurate range figure. See you there. arrived. Susie's just plugging the car in. So we anticipated we'd get here, well, the car anticipated we'd get here with 25 miles of range. We've arrived with 26 miles of range. So very good for BMW. Hello? Oh, okay. So very good for Volkswagen, not BMW. Yeah, so good for Volkswagen. Now there's 2 posts here. Each post has a 7 kilowatt charger and a 3-pin. So on the first post, we've got a Tesla. He's using the 7 kilowatt, as he should. On the second post, we've got a BMW 330e, a hybrid PHEV. So the PHEV has plugged into the 7 kilowatt charger. So the PHEV charges really slowly. It probably charges at about 3 kilowatts. So it's really either quite selfish, or the guy or lady is completely ignorant to how charging works. So, I mean, if you're a PHEV driver and you're watching this, your car can only take, in most cases, say 3.5 kilowatts. If there's a choice of a 3-pin and a 7 kilowatt charger, plug into the 3-pin, because that will charge you at about 3 kilowatts, which is the most you can take. Don't use the 7 kilowatt charger if there's a slower charge available. So this means we're gonna get probably half the charge, well, yeah, about half the charge, a bit under than we were hoping to get. It's just how things go. I mean, it is frustrating. So it's either a lack of knowledge, or it's just ignorance, really, or a lack of not caring. So I'm perhaps slightly grumpy because we're at Bicester shopping village and I don't really want to go shopping as well. See you in a bit. Well, I've had a right result. 2 pairs of Timberlands. Obviously there's another one to both of these shoes. £45 a pair. I'm over the moon. It does help that I've only got size 6 feet, so you can get in the kids ones, but an absolute steal. There's been a development though with the charging. So I thought I'd pop back to the car to put the Timberlands in the boot. I didn't want to carry them around with me. As you can see, no BMW. So I'm now on the 7.2 kilowatt charging, and hopefully if I've ever arrives, he'll go on the other one. Now what is disappointing is this guy. So I had a nice chat with this guy when he turned up. He's got a beautiful Model 3 Performance, so 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. He's gone for a bold interior colour choice. But I talked to him about charging because he hadn't charged before outside of his house. So I told him how to do it. We had a nice chat. If you look here, he's not bothered to plug in. So this guy's, in my book, kind of worse than the PHEV driver, because this guy can't plead ignorance. He's just left his car here, not charging. So, sorry, Mr. Tesla owner. I think you were just perhaps a bit, you know, as a new owner, perhaps you didn't quite get it. But don't park in EV spaces if you're not charging. So I guess as an EV driver, there's 3 things that are annoying when it comes to parking. I mean, number one's icing. And I think there's enough sort of EVs out there now for people to know that they're taking the mickey. The second is PHEVs on 7 kilowatt chargers when they should have used a 3 kilowatt charger. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And the third, which has actually annoyed me more, and I'm not really annoyed, my life isn't like that, is an EV driver just leaving his car in an EV space, not plugged in. What's that about? Just find a normal space. There's about 4 or 5 Tesla Model 3s in here, and they're just all in normal spaces. One of them might have needed a charge. So, well, I'm going back to the shops, but if you're enjoying this video, hit the like button, please. I really appreciate it. I know I ask every single time, but it does really help the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I've now got about 0.5% of my audience are ladies now, so it's growing. Right, so another result, look. I've got 2 pairs of jeans and a t-shirt. I'm actually quite glad we came. You didn't manage to get anything, did you?
No. Nothing.
Are you disappointed?
Yep. Useless.
I'm over the moon. So we've got 73 miles of range now, so we've added 50 miles of range. That is good actually, isn't it? Yeah. We've got a couple of things to do, but we'll see you in about 40 miles time at Mollies Diner.
See you later.
had a bit of a result actually. After dinner, got chatting to a couple of the members of staff here, and they said that although there's no chargers, there's a problem with the company that was supplying the chargers. I mean, you know what these things are like. But they have got an outside socket. So they said I could use it. So that is brilliant and really kind of them. So I'm just going to go over now and get plugged in. And hopefully we won't need a charge in the morning. Alright, so I'm plugged in. I mean, the health and safety person in me is a little bit worried about that being a trip hazard. So I'm going to try and find a mat to put over that. Yeah, fingers crossed we've got enough. Thank you, Mollies Motel, to get back. So interestingly, walking back into the motel, here's their EV spaces. Look, 3 brand spanking new, never used EV spaces. Not a charging post in sight, unfortunately. Look, it's a shame, but they'll get there. I think it's all going to be powered from that building there. But fantastic, good on them. So far, an absolutely brilliant experience. So we're just about to set off home. We've had an amazing time. So I hope this video has shown that with a little bit of planning and a little bit of luck actually, driving an EV beyond its normal range, so we'll be doing over 200 miles, is easy. It's dead easy. In fact, we haven't spent any more time kind of waiting for charging than we would have done if we were in an ICE vehicle. I think although we need more kind of chargers on journeys, more rapid chargers, destination chargers are what's really important as well, because when you get to where you want to go, it's handy just to be able to stick your car on charge and it's full in the morning. So we've made some notes, haven't we, Sam?
Yes, we have.
About Mollies Diner, because we've had a wonderful time.
A very lovely time.
So this is our review of Mollies Diner. So do you want to start with your first?
So we've had amazing waffles.
So they were the best waffles you've ever eaten, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I've had the best ribs I've ever eaten. And then Susie had the best chicken sandwich. It was delicious. The best chicken sandwich she's ever eaten. But there was a bit of a downside with the food, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And what was it?
That my hot dog, my chili dog, had mustard on, which we do not like, and I was really full, so I couldn't eat it all.
Yeah, so that was perhaps our fault, the mustard. We should have perhaps mentioned it. But the food portions, I mean, my feedback to Mollies would be the food portions are probably a bit big. I've never in my life been overwhelmed by a plate of food, and I was overwhelmed with my dinner and also my breakfast this morning. I don't think I probably got through about half my dinner, less than half my dinner, and maybe 2/3 of my breakfast. What else have you got?
The beds were really comfy. I was asleep in seconds.
Yeah, the beds were really comfy, weren't they? Yeah.
But even though they were quite small, they were quite comfy. But it suits me because I'm quite small.
And the decor was amazing. So they've obviously spent loads of money, time and effort on the design in this building. But they've also made it look kind of effortless. So you've got some beautiful antique sort of Danish pieces. You've got some modern pieces. I mean, yeah, the design is just superb. Well done. From an EV point of view, although the chargers aren't here, the spaces are here. I mean, hopefully they can get a move on and put them in. They've got 3 spaces marked out. My advice would be to get 4 and just have a post between space 1 and 2 and a post between space 3 and 4. And then people can put their own cables in, and one post serves 2 spaces, if that makes sense. Either a 3.5 kilowatt or 7 kilowatts, I think, would be more than ample. Anything else?
The views from our window was very nice, and the friendly night and day manager was there looking after us the whole time.
Yeah, the night manager, I mean, he was a bit of a character. I really got on well with him. A lovely guy. He's not a fan of EVs, he told me, which I just smiled politely at. But he's got some modern day classic cars, so we had a lovely talk about them. It was really helpful. Lovely guy, wasn't he? All the staff have been amazing. They seem to be very highly skilled, and there seems to be a culture within all the people who work here of kind of effortless professionalism and cheerfulness. So quite often you go to places and people who are working there, you can quite often get the feeling that they're there for a week or they're there for a month. They're going to be doing something else next month. But these guys are all really professional, and I mean, we can't praise them enough, can we? The people who work there, they're unbelievable. Really good.
5 stars out of 5 stars.
5 stars, yeah.
The chairs were really comfy.
Yeah, some really comfortable furniture and beds,
Yeah.
weren't there? Yeah. So all in all, an amazing experience. I hope you found this video useful. If you haven't liked it already, please like. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe.
Down below.
We're going to put some more videos around, aren't we, Theo?
Yes.
So,
One up there.
what, my face?
There.
There. Okay, one there.
One there.
Above your head.
And the subscribe button down here.
Yeah, and then one across my face.
Yeah.
Until
Goodbye,
next time.
Steve.
See you next time.